Back to assess her new brand as ever. She's previously hinted she might never restock her jam because the first batch sold out within 45 minutes. Now, the first batch was, 60 jars?
It was supposed to be her comeback. A soft launch, a luxury brand, a jar of handcrafted raspberry jam designed to whisper elegance and scream success. Meghan Markle, the self-styled duchess turned wellness guru, had a plan. Re-enter the public eye, not through interviews or podcasts, but through something safer, sweeter, spreadable even. But in one bite, everything came crashing down.
But stepping back from a brand that you've only just launched suggests to me it's not been as successful as someone might have hoped. Let's talk to royal biographer of her husband, Prince Harry, Angela Levin.
Gordon Ramsay, the world's most feared palate, didn't just critique the product, he detonated it. What followed wasn't just a bad review, it was a public takedown so brutal it left Meghan's brand and reputation in shambles, and no PR team in the world was ready for what happened next.
That she's already having to step back a bit. The reality is, this has been an absolute joke of a brand, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I was told by somebody they were only putting out 10 jars. So, of course, it would all go because I think she sold them to her friend.
To understand just how devastating this moment was, you have to rewind. Meghan's post-royal era has been a series of reinventions, some glossier than others, from Netflix docuseries and podcast flops to children's books and failed business ventures. Every move seemed calculated to distance her from the drama of Buckingham Palace and redefine her as a powerful, independent brand. That brand, lately, had taken on the aroma of lavender candles, pastel labels, and carefully worded empowerment slogans. Her new line, as ever, was supposed to mark a new beginning. Organic, artisanal, curated. A gentle nod to her California lifestyle, and a not-so-subtle bid for a piece of the Gwyneth Paltrow-style wellness empire. It wasn't just jam, it was a statement. And Meghan, once again, was the product. The rollout was meant to be quiet but impressive. Just a small batch of jars, 60 if reports are to be believed, delivered to an exclusive group of influencers, friends, and high-end cafes. One of those cafes, a trendy LA eatery popular among Hollywood elites, featured the raspberry spread on their breakfast scones during a high-profile brunch.
Told it to her friends. I think they all thought she sent it to them. They had no choice.
Yeah. Well, whatever way it was. So it's been a disaster. And one of the disasters was the packing, which she spent day after day, so she said, poor thing, packing it up the right way in the right colour. And it's cost an absolute fortune. So the whole thing has been a disaster.
Meghan's team likely thought they had engineered the perfect viral soft launch. Beautiful plates, curated photos, quiet buzz. What they didn't count on was a certain celebrity chef showing up unannounced. When Gordon Ramsay took a seat, everything changed. His reaction wasn't just harsh, it was headline-making. He spat the jam out in front of stunned diners, calling it a crime against fruit. But that's not the worst part, because this wasn't just a food fail, it was a full-blown credibility crisis. You probably think this is where the story ends. You're wrong. Meghan Markle had been meticulously crafting her new wellness brand, as ever, for months. Each detail painstakingly chosen to reflect an aura of authenticity. Pastel labels whispered promises of organic ingredients, farm-to-table purity, and handcrafted care. Her Instagram teased shots of her gently stirring preserves in minimalist kitchens, jars catching sunlight in perfectly staged photos. The brand narrative was flawless, calculated to resonate deeply with a wellness-hungry audience. But beneath the glossy packaging lay a crucial oversight: taste. And when taste met truth, the result wasn't sweet, it was devastating. Gordon Ramsay wasn't on Meghan's guest list. The famously blunt chef, renowned for publicly dismantling culinary pretension, arrived at the cafe unaware he was about to become the catalyst for a PR nightmare. Witnesses said Ramsay barely hesitated before selecting a scone generously layered with Meghan's raspberry jam. Cameras weren't officially rolling, but in the age of smartphones, privacy is an illusion. Before Meghan's PR team even knew what was happening, diners discreetly raised phones, capturing the exact moment Ramsay bit down, then immediately spat it out in disgust. The words that followed weren't criticism, they were annihilation. Ramsay declared the jam slimy, overprocessed, and worst of all, pretentious nonsense. His face reportedly flushed crimson, his voice loud enough to silence the entire restaurant. One guest overheard Ramsay liken the spread to chemicals mixed with cough syrup.
A spectacular success, hasn't it? And I know there are quite a lot, I certainly did, but they did a lot of very nice tarts that were sold at my local supermarket. They're absolutely top notch. But there was some talk that she apparently was the view. I mean, she's got some podcast that's already finished where it's sort of like women found. I mean, I don't bother learning the names of these things because they never last that long.
It was an absolute disaster, and everyone there knew it instantly. Within minutes, Meghan's carefully orchestrated launch fell into chaos. Waiters nervously removed plates from tables as guests murmured anxiously. Several diners even asked for replacements, quietly distancing themselves from the culinary crime Ramsay had so vividly described. But this was just the beginning. Before Meghan's team could react, Ramsay's blistering review was already spreading across social media like wildfire. A single tweet with a grainy video of his tirade reached 2 million views within hours. Hashtags erupted online. #Jamgate and Ramsay V's, Meghan trended relentlessly. Memes mocked Meghan's brand mercilessly, turning her carefully constructed image into the punchline of internet ridicule. It wasn't just a bad day, it was a full-blown public humiliation. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Meghan's entire post-royal identity hinged on her ability to successfully reinvent herself in the eyes of the public. As ever, was her attempt to step gracefully away from royal drama and into entrepreneurial legitimacy. Now, the backlash wasn't just attacking a product, it was dismantling her entire narrative of authenticity. One tweet summed it up brutally. If Meghan Markle can't even get jam right, how can we trust anything else she sells? And as Meghan's PR team scrambled desperately behind the scenes, trying to contain the fallout, the damage spiraled beyond control. But as bad as things seemed, this public disaster was about to get so much worse.
To share it or buy part of it because they didn't think it was any good. So that's why they're not doing it.
They didn't want to be associated with the brand. She said, but didn't she reckon that she, apparently, friends are saying, she expected to, wants to become a billionaire. She wants to make serious money and, and be this successful entrepreneur.
As Meghan's team frantically tried to manage the chaos unfolding online, insiders revealed the scale of their panic behind closed doors. Within moments of Ramsay's brutal review going viral, Meghan's PR representatives reportedly called the restaurant, demanding immediate removal of the jam from their menu. They even attempted to stop staff from making public statements, but it was already far too late. Screenshots of the incident, reaction videos, and damning commentary flooded every social media platform. And the harder Meghan's team fought to suppress the narrative, the more viciously it spiraled out of their control. One critic tweeted, "You can't refrigerate your way out of bad taste. Meghan's jam is officially toast." Adding fuel to the fire, respected chefs and culinary insiders joined the public pile-on, shredding Meghan's credibility even further. Celebrity chef Thomas Keller privately mocked the spread, reportedly joking, "If she's selling that as premium, we might as well bottle ketchup and call it gourmet." This wasn't just an attack on her jam, it was a savage indictment of her entire business model, now perceived as shallow branding over genuine quality.
Absolutely appalling. And it was about 2 sentences on each page. Let me read you the next thing.
Okay.
However, she might really move on and explore the category of fashion on a later date. I think it is an interesting place for me.
Behind Meghan's carefully curated persona, critics now saw only a desperate celebrity willing to slap her name on anything to stay relevant. Suddenly, Meghan Markle wasn't a wellness guru or luxury brand founder, she was being painted as a pretender, cashing in on royal mystique without delivering real substance. And then came another humiliating revelation that made everything infinitely worse. Angela Levin, a respected royal biographer with close connections to Buckingham Palace, spoke publicly, confirming suspicions that Meghan's product launch was largely smoke and mirrors. According to Levin, Meghan's claim that the jam sold out within 45 minutes was little more than clever spin. Levin asserted the initial sellout consisted of only a handful of jars, 10 at most, all distributed to Meghan's friends and close allies to create artificial scarcity and manufactured hype. "It was never about quality or customer demand," Levin said bluntly. "It was about optics, pure and simple." But Ramsay's explosive critique tore the veil away, exposing Meghan's carefully orchestrated publicity stunt. As these revelations spread, social media exploded again. "Meghan Markle caught faking demand?" read one viral post. "Is anything about her brand real?" asked another. What began as criticism over taste quickly morphed into accusations of deception, dishonesty, and manipulation. For Meghan, this wasn't just embarrassing, it was catastrophic.
I don't know what to call myself. I think it speaks to this chapter many of us find ourselves in, where none of us are one note, but I believe the notes I'm playing are part of the same song. I mean,
Oh my God.
It was now clear the jam disaster wasn't just a one-off product fail, it was a symptom of a deeper issue, raising questions about every business decision she'd made since leaving royal life behind. What happened next, though, would escalate this from a branding misfire into a personal humiliation of historic proportions. Because as Meghan scrambled to contain the damage, whispers emerged from her former royal circles, and the palace insiders weren't holding back. As Meghan's jam fiasco turned into a global embarrassment, whispers from within her former royal circles began leaking, quickly escalating the scandal to unprecedented heights. Multiple insiders close to Buckingham Palace revealed that the incident had swiftly reached royal ears, reportedly sparking amused reactions among senior members of the family. One palace source anonymously told reporters they think it's karma. After all the turmoil Meghan caused, this feels like poetic justice. The implication was clear. Meghan's humiliation wasn't merely entertaining, it was satisfying to those she'd left behind. Meghan had hoped her raspberry jam would symbolize a graceful fresh start, a step away from royal controversies and into entrepreneurial triumph. Instead, Gordon Ramsay's brutal takedown had provided her former in-laws a rare opportunity to quietly savor her very public stumble. To them, her failed reinvention wasn't just embarrassing, it was validation of their long-held skepticism about her authenticity.
She actually sold candles scented like her vagina. I mean, for God's sake, the woman has made fortune. Not that she needed to, she is a multimillionaire, but she's made an absolute fortune doing this lifestyle brand and everything. And obviously Meghan thought she could do that.
And while Buckingham Palace would never officially comment, royal commentators were quick to note the disaster couldn't have come at a worse time. Just as Meghan appeared eager to quietly rebuild burned bridges, she once again found herself at the center of a media circus. But perhaps the harshest blow came when Ramsay himself refused any attempt at damage control, doubling down on his original statement. Confronted by reporters, Ramsay was blunt and unapologetic. "Absolutely not! I'd rather eat out of a bin than touch that jam again." He went even further, declaring that celebrity food products shouldn't get a free pass because of a famous name. "If you put your name on it, it better be good," Ramsay snapped. "This wasn't good, it was pretentious rubbish." His words struck a nerve, painting Meghan as little more than an opportunist whose privilege had finally collided with reality. Social media erupted once more. Fans and critics alike turned Ramsay's biting critiques into viral memes, while culinary experts openly mocked Meghan's brand as nothing more than overpriced gimmicks hiding behind royal mystique. Meghan's brand identity, built on authenticity and wellness, had just been publicly demolished by one of the world's most influential tastemakers, and now the damage extended far beyond her jam business. Retailers began quietly pulling back from planned partnerships, wary of the toxic press that now accompanied Meghan's brand.
Behind, or in a beekeeper's suit and things like that. And she clearly wants privacy for her family, obviously, unless she doesn't want privacy for her family when she wants to make money. That hasn't gone down very well.
Early reports suggested that prominent stockists were reconsidering agreements to carry as ever products altogether. Behind closed doors, Meghan's team faced a sobering reality. The damage wasn't just temporary, it threatened the foundation of her entire business model. Ramsay's blistering takedown had stripped away the polished veneer, exposing an uncomfortable truth that now echoed across the internet. If Meghan Markle couldn't deliver authenticity in something as simple as jam, could consumers trust her with anything at all? And as the scandal continued to explode online, the lasting consequences were about to become painfully clear. In the days following Ramsay's brutal takedown, the ripple effects continued to spread, and Meghan Markle's carefully curated, as ever, brand faced existential consequences. Retail partners who'd once eagerly anticipated collaborations quietly distanced themselves, wary of the mounting backlash. Sources close to major upscale stores and luxury boutiques revealed they had no choice but to reconsider stocking Meghan's products. The reputation risk is just too high, one insider confided. Right now, Meghan's brand isn't associated with quality, it's associated with scandal. Meanwhile, Meghan's PR machine scrambled frantically behind the scenes, attempting to spin the fiasco as an isolated incident, blaming refrigeration issues or faulty batch storage. But these excuses only deepened the public's skepticism. Critics were relentless, pointing out that blaming storage for poor taste was a desperate attempt to deflect responsibility. "You can't refrigerate your way into premium quality," read one scathing online comment. As Meghan's attempts at damage control faltered, a broader question began dominating conversations across social media and in industry circles. Was Meghan Markle genuinely committed to wellness and authenticity, or was she merely leveraging her royal notoriety to sell hollow products wrapped in pastel-colored packaging?
But he also did his own speeches and everything, but now he has to obey Meghan. He absolutely has to.
Do you really think it's like this? I don't like it when we always blame, the woman.
The disaster triggered a larger industry reckoning. Experts began openly questioning the ethics behind celebrity-endorsed products that prioritized branding over quality. Ramsay's merciless critique had exposed a disturbing trend where famous faces expected their fame alone to guarantee success, regardless of substance. And Meghan, now the face of this failed formula, was caught in the crossfire of a much broader conversation about authenticity, privilege, and credibility. Royal commentators even suggested that Meghan's debacle sent a clear message to other celebrities eyeing similar ventures. Fame could open doors, but without genuine value, those doors could slam shut just as quickly. Ultimately, Meghan Markle's raspberry jam catastrophe was about more than a culinary misfire. It was about trust, authenticity, and the consequences of prioritizing image over substance. In the brutal court of public opinion, Ramsay's words had crystallized the problem perfectly. Celebrity products must meet real standards, not just glossy marketing claims. For Meghan, whose entire post-royal strategy hinged on reinventing herself as an authentic voice in wellness and luxury lifestyle, this crisis wasn't just damaging, it was existential. It wasn't just her jam that had spoiled, her credibility had soured as well. And as Meghan's team quietly contemplated their next move, whether to rebrand, relaunch, or abandon ship entirely, one haunting question lingered. Could Meghan Markle ever recover from this very public failure, or had Gordon Ramsay delivered a fatal blow to her ambitions? Because if Meghan couldn't regain consumer trust, her brand wasn't just tarnished, it was finished.